AITA for tricking my wife into believing we were having a baby, only to reveal it was a prank at her miscarriage support group. EY, 32, male, have been married to my wife, Emily, 30, female, for 5 years. We've been trying to have a baby for the past 2 years, but it's been a difficult journey. Emily has had 2 miscarriages, both of which were devastating for her. She fell into deep depression after each one, and it took everything I had to help her through it. But as time passed, I found myself growing increasingly frustrated with how consumed she became with the idea of having a baby. Our lives began to revolve around fertility treatments, ovulation schedules, and pregnancy tests. It felt like we were losing ourselves in this obsession, and I started to resent it. A few months ago, Emily found out she was pregnant again. She was overjoyed, but I was more skeptical. I didn't want to get my hopes up after what happened before. However, I played along, pretending to be just as excited as she was. Emily began planning everything, nursery ideas, baby names, the works. But something inside me snapped. I was tired of the constant pressure, the endless discussions about babies, and the fear of another heartbreak. So I came up with a plan. A plan that, in hindsight, I realized was cruel and unthinkable. But at the time, I convinced myself it was necessary to shock her out of this baby obsession. Emily had an appointment with her doctor, and I offered to go with her. But before the appointment, I secretly called the clinic and pretended to be Emily. I told them we needed to cancel the appointment due to an emergency, so they wouldn't expect us. Then, I told Emily that the doctor had called me with the results of some tests they ran earlier, and that everything looked perfect. In fact, I told her we were having twins. Emily burst into tears of joy, hugging me and thanking me for being so supportive. I felt a twinge of guilt, but I pushed it aside. For the next few weeks, I played along with the charade. I even bought baby clothes, twin cribs, and arranged a surprise gender reveal party with our closest friends and family. Emily was glowing with happiness, and everyone around us was thrilled. I convinced myself that I was doing her a favor, that this would somehow snap her out of her fixation when I finally revealed the truth. The day of the gender reveal party arrived, and everyone was gathered in our backyard, eagerly waiting to find out if we were having boys, girls, or one of each. Emily was beside herself with excitement, and I could see how much this moment meant to her. But instead of the usual balloons or colored cake, I had something else planned. I stood up and made a speech, talking about how much I loved my wife and how we've been through so much together. Then I said, "But there's something you all need to know." Emily looked at me, confused, as I pulled out a small box. I opened it to reveal 2 empty baby shoes. "There are no babies," I said. "There never were. It was all just a prank." The silence that followed was deafening. Emily's face went from confusion to disbelief, then to sheer horror as she processed what I had just said. She collapsed to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably, as our friends and family looked at me in shock, some of them starting to yell at me. Emily's best friend ran over to comfort her, while others just stood there, too stunned to move. But that wasn't the end of it. A few days later, Emily had a scheduled meeting with her miscarriage support group, where she was planning to share the good news about our pregnancy. She asked me to come with her for support, and I agreed. When we arrived, she tearfully began to tell the group about our miracle twins. As the women around her offered their congratulations and shared their own stories of hope, I stood up and interrupted her. "Actually, everyone, I have something to confess," I said. "There's no pregnancy. I made it all up. Emily's not having any babies." The room erupted into chaos. Women who had suffered unimaginable losses were now screaming at me, some even crying with Emily as she sat there, completely broken. The group leader asked me to leave immediately, and I did, feeling an odd mix of guilt and justification. I thought this would help Emily move on, but I had clearly underestimated how much damage it would do. Now, Emily won't speak to me. She's staying with her parents, and she's filed for divorce. Our friends have cut ties with me, and I've been ostracized by almost everyone we know. But part of me still believes that I was right, that Emily needed to snap out of her obsession with having a baby and move on with our lives. Maybe I went too far, but I did it because I believed it was the only way to make her see reason. So, AITA for tricking my wife into believing we were having a baby, only to reveal it was a prank at her miscarriage support group,